We will soon be at the doorstep of the activity with some of the greatest loot in Destiny history, and today I'm going to show you all of the weapons and armor that you should be hunting down in preparation for it, as well as where to get them and what perks you'll want on each one. We are of course talking about none other than Grandmaster Nightfalls, and before you click off the video, trust me when I say that you'll want to be dipping your toes into these this season to grab an adept version of one of the best rockets in the game in the Hothead, and returning fan favorite strike exclusive weapons like Silicon Aroma, Horror's Least, Duty Bound, and the DFA. And if Grandmaster Nightfalls have been too challenging of a feat for you in the past, I've got some special surprises for you at the end of the video that will provide an avenue to guarantee Grandmaster clears. First things first though, let's get your arsenal in tip-top shape. Starting with the Kinetic Weapons, we have the Nightwatch Scout Rifle, great for stunning unstoppable champions in all 6 of the Grandmaster Nightfalls we have this season. Random rolls of this weapon are only obtainable from Xur's random inventory, but you can get a curated overflow and explosive payload roll from completing a portion of the New Light questline. There are plenty of great substitutes for this as well, such as Hung Jury, Tears of Contrition, and many more, but Nightwatch is my personal recommendation if you have it. Next up is the Messenger, obtainable from the Trials of Osiris for stunning barrier champions in any situation that you can't fit Arbalest into that kinetic slot. I recommend Rapid Hit paired with either One for All, Desperado, or Frenzy. Options like Peace of Mind and Sacred Providence will work fine here as well. And finally, for kinetic weapons, we have the Arbalest, a world drop exotic that is currently crowned the king of Grandmaster Nightfalls. With the ability to intrinsically one-shot any barrier and elemental shield, this weapon is a staple in any barrier strike this season when you're not dedicating your exotic slot to something else. It frees up that barrier mod on your gloves, makes the match game modifier non-existent, and has incredible sustained damage. This weapon's high aim assist also makes it easy to land your shots on those like and subscribe buttons if you like educational and informative Destiny content. Much love to anyone who joins the Cool Kids Club leading up to our 40,000 subscriber goal. Moving on to the energy slot, let's start with our Solar Scout Rifle options, perfect for strikes with unstoppable champions and Solar Acute Burn like Proving Grounds, Warden of Nothing, and the Arms Dealer. Staccato 46 and Pleiades Corrector are the top picks coming from both the Gunsmith and World Drop loot pools. For Staccato, you want to look for Triple Tap with Explosive Payload or Focused Fury. On Pleiades Corrector, you're looking for 4 times the Charm and Demolitionist. Other solar options here are the Vision of Confluence from the Vault of Glass with Surplus or Wellspring paired with Frenzy, or the Trusty from the Deepstone Crypt with Reconstruction and Redirection. Moving on to our Void Scout Rifle options for strikes with unstoppable champions and Void Acute Burns such as the Insight Terminus, I recommend Aisha's Embrace, obtainable from the Trials of Osiris, with stats for all or triple tap paired with Vorpal Weapon or Focused Fury. Vouchsafe is a fantastic substitute as well if you have one sitting around. Finally, we have our Arc Scout Rifle options for strikes with unstoppable champions and Arc Acute Burns such as the Corrupted and the Inverted Spire. Eternal Blazon with Rapid Hit and One for All is my #1 recommendation, however this weapon is quite difficult to get considering it isn't in the Gunsmith or World loot pools. Luckily, if you're watching this video before the June 28th weekly reset, Xur is currently selling a Killing Wind and One for All roll in the tower. If you can't make it to him by then, Contingency Plan from the Gunsmith and World Drop loot pools with Surplus and Wellspring is your contingency plan. Moving on to our other type of energy weapons, we have our various elemental SMGs for strikes with Overload champions. For Overload champion and Solar Acute Burn strikes, we want the Callus's mini tool obtainable from the Derelict Leviathan, with Moving Target or Threat Detector paired with Incandescent. Moving on to Arc SMG options for Overload champions and Arc Acute Burn strikes, we want to go with the Stochastic Variable with Surplus and Wellspring obtainable from the Gunsmith and World Drop loot pools. The Ikelos and 7th Seraph SMGs are also viable options if you have either of those laying around. Moving on to Void SMGs, we actually don't need any considering there are no strikes this season with Overload champions and a Void Acute Burn, so things like Funnel Web and Unforgiven will be taking a backseat. Lastly, for our energy weapons, we of course have the Divinity, obtainable from the Garden of Salvation raid exotic quest. I know this is a tougher weapon to get, but luckily only one person in your fire team needs to have it. Not only does it have Overload intrinsically built in, but the bonus damage it gives you against affected targets makes bursting high priority heavy enemies like champions significantly easier. I'd recommend this over any legendary trace rifle with overload trace due to its added utility. If you have a teammate rocking it already, run a primary ammo SMG yourself instead of a special ammo overload trace rifle, so you can save your special ammo slot for something like Arbalest. Now last but not least, we have our heavy weapons, which are going to be very linear fusion rifle focused, so we can double dip into scavenger, finder, and reserves mods whenever we use Arbalest, which is going to be in every single strike other than Arms Dealer for the non-divinity users. For solar acute burn strikes like Proving Grounds and Warden of Nothing, we want the Cataclysmic with Surplus and Bait and Switch from the Vow of the Disciple raid. 4th times the charm is great for raiding, but very impractical for Grandmaster Nightfalls considering you are rarely ever shooting off 4 bullets all in one go. The champions just don't have that much HP. For void acute burn strikes like the Insight Terminus, we want the Threaded Needle with Rapid Hit or Clown Cartridge paired with Vorpal Weapon. Unfortunately, the only way to get this weapon is to hope that Xur has it in his inventory. If you don't have one laying around, my next recommendation will work just fine for you. For arc acute burn strikes like the Corrupted and the Inverted Spire, we want the Storm Chaser with Rapid Hit or Clown Cartridge paired with Vorpal Weapon or Firing Line from the Duality Dungeon. If you are unable to get that but have a Tarantula laying around, that will do just fine as well. Finally, we have our rockets, specifically for the Arms Dealer Elevator Boss Burn. It's very difficult to hit crits on Brakazan while riding up to the airfield. That, or I'm just bad. So rockets make for a much more consistent burn. Solar rockets like Ascendancy with Impulse Amplifier and Explosive Light from the Tower Kiosk, and Hezen's Vengeance with Impact Casing, Auto-Loading Holster, and Vorpal Weapon from the Vault of Glass are great options. You'll also want one player on your fire team rocking Galahorn from the Grasp of Avarice dungeon for the team-wide Wolfpack rounds as well. Now before we get to armor and stats, I want to mention that these are strictly my recommendations, so if you feel more comfortable using something else, please do. And if you feel like I missed a weapon on this list or are confused with any of my choices, drop a comment below letting me know and I'll do my best to provide additional reasoning and a reply. With that being said, let's get to talking about exotic armor pieces and stat builds that I recommend working towards for each specific class. All of these exotic armor pieces are of course best obtained from the daily Legend and Master Lost sectors, and if you want to know what Lost sector is dropping which armor piece on any given day, you can see that information in the daily Lost sectors channel in my Discord server, linked in the description. For hunters, the only recommendation anyone could ever need is the Omnioculus. It's incredible for team play by allowing you to keep your allies safe, get their revives regardless of how dangerous of a spot they are in, and generally keep yourself alive at all times. For stats, you want to focus on hitting 100 mobility, then maxing out your discipline and strength to the best of your ability. For warlocks, we are looking for Phoenix Protocol for strikes that benefit from having a Well of Radiance, like Proving Grounds, the Corrupted, and Insight Terminus, and Controverse Hold for strikes where boss burst damage is key, like Warden of Nothing, Inverted Spire, and Arms Dealer. For stats, you want to go for that 100 Resilience for 40% damage resistance, as well as 100 Recovery for that maximum healing rift uptime. Finally, with Titans, we are looking for Curious of the Falling Star for strikes where boss burst damage is key, like the previously mentioned ones. Next up is Heart of Inmost Light for the Void Titan users, and Lordly Splendor for the Solar Titan users. 100 Resilience is obviously crucial on Titan for 40% damage resistance and high barricade uptime, with Discipline being the next focus. I also recommend trying to grab a pair of Aeon Gauntlets regardless of your class for guaranteed special and heavy ammo bricks on finishers versus orange bar enemies and champions respectively. Now you know exactly what you need for Grandmaster Nightfalls, but how do you go about beating them? Well, like I told you at the beginning of the video, I've got 3 ways for you to practically guarantee yourself a Conqueror seal this season. Step 1 is to subscribe to my channel so that you can catch all of the guide videos I'll be posting on each specific Grandmaster, giving you a quick but thorough strategy plan for how to easily beat it. Step 2 is to join my Discord server so that you can use the LFG channel to find like-minded Guardians who also watch my videos to team up with. This is a great place to look for teammates that will come prepared with the proper weapons, gear, knowledge, and a positive, non-toxic attitude. And finally, step 3 is to stop by my live stream at twitch.tv/Mactics, where you can watch me run my live Grandmaster Nightfall carries, see all of the strategies in action, ask any questions, and even hop in and run Grandmaster Nightfalls with me. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.